You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
SafetyFM.com with Jay Allen. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time.
Hello and welcome to another lovely episode of Safety FM with Jay Allen. I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we get to hang out on this lovely Tuesday, March the 5th of 2024. Listen, I am still collecting all of my thoughts from the Global Safety Innovation Summit that happened down in Wollongong last month. Yes, the month of February. Now, here's been kind of the cool aspect of it. Because I have had access to all these different speakers and going through everything in regards of what I've been able to look over in regards of the presentations and then speaking to some of the speakers directly after their presentations, it's been some good times taking a look at some of the things that are out there. And today is one of these days that we're going to sit back and have a good time. So besides that, we're going to get to listen to Diane Chadwick-Jones speak. Then afterwards, we're going to get her into our little room here and hang out and talk to her just a little bit about how the presentation went and how everything that she spoke about, and if there was anything that she missed out that she wanted to talk to the audience about. So with that being said, let's sit back for a moment, hang out, and take a listen to this speech from Diane Chadwick-Jones, and then we'll talk to her on the backside. This is Safety FM with Jay Allen. Let's get it all started right now.
Okay, our next speaker, a personal friend of mine. We both come from BP. It won't surprise you to know that we've worked a lot together. In fact, at one point, people thought we were doing exactly the same job, which essentially we were. Diane's defining characteristic is generosity. She's generous with her time. She coaches and supports many people in our field. She's very generous with learning. She's very keen to push good practice and experience so that it's not staying where it's invented, but it gets out into the public so that we all get to benefit from it. Please welcome to the stage my very good friend, Diane Chadwick-Jones.
Hello, everyone. Right. So, we are now going to talk about the practical application of what Todd spoke about, okay? So, because you're going, right, we've gone through the principles, we've gone through the why, but here we have a case study of what Simon and I did with, of course, a number of people and supporters over about 10 years in BP, and it's alive and kicking in BP. So a bit about me. So I was 30 years in BP. I'm retired now. The first 15 years were in the operations, and the next 15 years were in safety. But I can tell you, during that time, I saw the harm that BBS behavioral-based safety was giving us. I saw the harm that Target Zero was giving us. I saw the harm of how we didn't think deeply about what was causing people to do what they did, what made sense at the time, but that we jumped straight into blame. And so you're kind of wondering, well, why did BP change? Why did we do these three things in terms of embedding innovative safety and sustaining it? How did we start? And in reality, it was the plateau that Todd showed you. After the Deepwater Horizon, we doubled down on compliance. We doubled down on following the rules or you'll be punished. We added more processes. We added more procedures. And what did that give us? It gave us a whole bunch of repeat incidents. It gave us a whole bunch of surprises. So we had, for example, a situation where there was a electricians, subcontractor electricians, working on a junction box and causing power cuts that would cause the whole facility to be blacked out. First time it happened, guess what we did? Sacked the subcontractor electrician, got another one. Second time it happened, 2 weeks later, same again. Sacked the subcontractor electrician, got another one. Third time, same again. Oh yeah, same again. Okay, so we're thinking, okay, this is not working out for us, is it? And so the fourth time that it happened, then we looked in more detail, and what we found was that the labeling was very unclear. In fact, we found labels that had fallen off the wires in this junction box. And secondly, that there were two teams working on this box, the subcontractor electricians and the operations team. And so this was like, oh, okay, this is a bit of a surprise. So when we're talking about the interaction between people in the system, we assume that everything is set up perfectly. We assume that everything is, the procedures are perfect, resourcing is perfect, people are perfect. But really, that's not the way. That's not reality. And so, of course, we apologized to the subcontractor company. We reinstated everybody. And so, but, this is how, people lose their livelihoods, is by us oversimplifying and jumping to blame and assuming that people are the problem. So that was one kind of story, because these are all the powerful stories in your organization. But the one that really got us and got the attention of the senior leadership of BP was when we had, again, subcontractors working on removing lagging protection around a pipe with a circular grinder saw. And it was a pipe that was pressurized to 2,000 psi. And, we cut 4 millimeters into that. The pipe's about that thick. So you're just a few millimeters away from a massive explosion. First time it happens, because we're talking about repeat incidents here, right? So you know where I'm going. So first time it happens, why can't we get good people? My son wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, hang on, wait a second. This is the first time people did the job, and it's the middle of the night, and it's like minus 25 degrees C. I mean, you're telling me that your son wouldn't, and he's given the circular saw? Well, no, my son wouldn't do that. So we sacked those people. A few weeks later, it happens again. And this time, I say, well, let's take a deeper dive into this. Why don't we go around and look at all the nicks on the pipes? How many nicks are there in the pipes around? 126 nicks. So we could have had that explosion 126 times. We didn't have the explosion, but what it did, and this is about the powerful stories and the examples that we have, is that this made us realize, us, the leadership of BP, that we were not setting up the workers for success, that we were very much part of the problem. And I mean, it was a very kind of tough realization, because we're thinking, right, we're going to have to change. We've been so deeply conditioned to do behavioral-based safety, to punish people, to show that we're, having accountability and showing discipline. So that's kind of the direction that we go in. And we had data. Now, unfortunately, data is really important. So I'm going to show you the next slide, which is the data that we gathered of what looked like rule breaking. So this is 350 cases of rule breaking in 2015. So we started this journey in like 2013, 2014. So we gathered this data. And, this is a published paper, by the way. Everything here is published and available to you, okay? Like Simon said, we love to share. And, we like to show our dirty laundry, actually, because this is really difficult and we need to kind of help each other out, right? So 350 cases of what it looks like people not following the rules. People so-called intentionally rule breaking. We looked into those. What did we find? Well, that in most cases, it was the way the workplace was set up. So this is very much in the kind of sending home the understanding that it's about, fix the workplace, not the worker. So we found that, in most cases, it was the way that the procedures were set up. It was the way the equipment was maintained. It was the resourcing. It was the training. And this was a huge realization. I mean, of course, we'd already kind of realized we had a plateau and that we were having repeats and also surprises. But it's always the case in every organization. Our leaders are really scared about destabilizing the organization. We are really scared of losing control and not holding people to account. So this kind of data, and I have more data for you as well, so that you can use. And of course, you're going to get all these slides. It really helps to provide the data and to say, look, I know that you really think that it's people that are the problem, but that's just because the most visible thing that happens on the day is the action of the person. But what you're not seeing is all the difficulties that they're facing, the reality of work. And so that's the reason why we have to change the questions that we ask. And instead of saying, why can't we get good people? Instead we go, well, actually, they must have been in a really difficult situation. And so but again, really, really tough. We keep on needing to show data. So here's more data. Clicky click. Here we go. So they were going, how do we know if this works? How do we know? I'm going, well, hey, we're not doing anything new. This is like from aviation in the 1940s and nuclear in the 1980s. They go, okay, I'm feeling a bit better now, okay. All right, it's not new. And then, no, it's not new. This is not new. And secondly, Chevron. Thank you so much, Chevron. So Simon got a whole bunch of information from Tanya Laguermo and Chevron, and of course that Todd had influenced. And we showed that to our senior leaders. And they were going, having me a piece of that. It's good for Chevron, it's good for us. And no, because really, this is all about credibility and validation. Okay? You're the senior leader. I mean, you worry about your people. You worry that you might be kind of taking a step that could cause problems for the organization. So, that's what you care about the most. So therefore, having this kind of validation and credibility and understanding that other people are doing this and that it's working out for them, that's so important. And the third thing was more data. It loves our data. Engineering companies, of course. So this data here is the third study that we had done on trust and the effect of trust on safety. So the y-axis is the incidence, and the x-axis is the trust, as measured by our annual people survey. And what we saw was that as trust goes up, and this is measured by a small number of questions. My line manager listens to me. I can speak up without fear of reprisal. What else? I trust the leaders of the company. My manager cares. These kind of things. Very kind of narrow definition, actually. But we saw, and this is over 50 sites in BP, we saw that where the trust was higher, the incidents were much lower. And this is normalized, so it's an incident frequency. But the strange thing is I'd done this study in 2005, and I'd done it in 2010, and this is in 2015. So we'd done it 3 times. And each time we did it, we found that the most powerful influence upon safety, if we looked at part of the world, type of work, level of risk, people hours, all the different aspects, we couldn't find any statistical correlation to safety performance. The only thing that we could find was correlated to safety performance was trust, which was kind of like a bit of a surprise, but did it 3 times, same. And of course, in other companies, I know Shell has done this and found the same thing. So this really helped with this credibility and leadership engagement. So when I'm talking about leadership engagement, I'm talking about, what are we frustrated with? We're frustrated with the plateau. We need to understand incident causation. So we need to understand that it's about systemic influences. And thirdly, we have to understand that that other companies are doing this, and that this is really working out for people. So then you say, well, okay, so we've got our leaders engaged, and they think this is what the way forward, and it's credible. And so how do we build the skills here? Here we go. So how are we building skills? Because it's a big shift. So what we've got thousands of people who we've conditioned to tell people to follow the rules or they'll be punished, right? And if you didn't do that, if you actually said, maybe we should, Bob's a good bloke, I'm sure he didn't do that intentionally, we should actually look into this a bit more detail. You go, you're going soft. So, yeah, you're going soft. So can you imagine? We've got thousands of leaders who have been, in fact, punished for trying to build trust, punished for trying to ask better questions. So we're like, okay, we got all these leaders and we can't replace them. So it was a huge effort. And what we actually had was the role modeling of the senior leaders. So the effect of the senior leaders saying, look, we punished people for that grinder pipe incident and it led to it happening again. We've done wrong. We've done wrong. We almost caused a massive explosion. And what we want to do is we want to genuinely listen to you. So instead of saying, follow the rules or you'll be punished, of course we want you to follow the rules, but we want you to tell us if you can't follow the rules or there's difficulties of work, and we will help you. Because, the real reason of why this works, this whole thing about trust, is because we understand more about what's actually going on in our organization. We understand more about the reality of work. And then that enables us, as Todd says, to put in better controls. So we had to kind of change the language of the organization. And fortunately, we had great role models doing it. So it wasn't some sort of huge training program. It wasn't kind of like sheep dipping people. But instead, it was about most senior leaders role modeling. And yeah, there were a bunch of people who said, this is crazy, this is never going to work. And the key was consistency. And this was what was discussed at the BlueScope plant yesterday when I went on the tour about how important it is for the consistency of communication between leaders, and that they're all saying a similar thing, that they're all asking those questions about what's making the work difficult. They're all responding in a supportive way when things don't go to plan. And I was so impressed with that. So, BlueScope, you're doing an amazing job. So, but there's also a redefining of what we think. So we have to redefine what care means. Before, care meant that, we'd force people to print out pictures of their children and put them in. Yeah, I've got a little handbook myself that I was forced to put pictures of my children, and that now I work safe for my kids. Work safe for my kids. I'm going, no amount of trying to work safe for my kids is going to fix the procedures and the fact that we've got 2 people on this job when there should be 4. Okay? So so we have to change what care means. The care means about, yes, absolutely, looking out for each other, but also understand what's getting in the way of safety. So there's, these skills. And now I'm going to get real practical, because this case study that you're going to have, it's got 2 videos in it. This was a huge breakthrough for BP. So Baker Hughes is a contractor company to BP, and to Chevron and to Shell and to Exxon. And they were incredibly frustrated with what was going on, how we were jumping to blame, how we were punishing. And so the first video actually shows it from the perspective of our perspective, the faraway perspective of, these people are careless and they're not paying attention, and they don't care, they're making poor choices. And the second video shows how we didn't set them up for success, the way the contract was set up, the way the resourcing was set up, the way the equipment wasn't there. So this is transformational. Showing this, the first time I showed this was 2015 to a bunch of CEOs across the industry, and they were just like, ooh. All of a sudden, understanding that there's a huge difference between how we think work is carried out, work is imagined, and work is done. Second thing, an e-learning. And now, it's not a sheep dip. It's like a 2-hour e-learning. We created it in BP, and then we gave it free to the industry. It costs now like £25, which is 50 Australian dollars. But again, it does just go through lots of case studies and fundamentals. Energy Institute Toolbox Safety Moments. Now, Simon and I designed these. They're very brightly coloured because we tested them with the front line and they were grey, and they went, that's not our life. We love where we work, and it's a really important place for us. It's not dull and dreary. So this covers responding supportively to bad news, work as imagined, work as done, and incident causation, and also what is human performance. So these are all, and these you can do in 10 minutes, each of them, and it includes questions. So these are great tools that you can use. Now, so I spoke about leadership engagement. I spoke about building capability. Now let's talk about integration, because let's face it, leaders change. Your sponsor changes. So it's a bit like, being in MasterChef Australia. You're only as good as your last meal. And so you're only as good as your current leader. And therefore, and I have seen cases of large organizations where the main sponsor has left, and it just dissolves. It dissolves because they feel so strongly that behavioral-based safety and holding people to account is the way forward. Because we feel safe, because this is what we've always done, and we need to keep them workers under control. So this is an example. It's actually very similar to the BP strategy and framework for integration, but it's the marine framework, which Simon has set up. So these are the kind of focus areas that you would look at. Culture, procedures, equipment design, and learning. But I'm going to go into some detail on this. So, culture. Shaping the culture you want. So these are the safety leadership principles of BP. They're published on the internet. We started them in 2014 when we just thought, telling people to follow the rules or they'll be punished is not enough. And, I mean, people were gobsmacked when they saw this. I mean, some people cried. I mean, literally, they were thinking, hang on, wait a second, you know, that we won't put production before safety? That we really will, that you really will care for us rather than seeing us as a problem to be managed? That you want us to speak up? You'll invite us to speak up? I mean, people actually weaponized it and said, well, the safety leadership principles say that we have to speak up. Brilliant, I said. Brilliant. Weaponize it. That's what we want. And then, of course, understanding how work really happens and learning why mistakes recur and respond supportively. And you think, this is just on the wall. No, it's not just on the wall. Every quarter since 2014, we have gone through one of those principles with a large section of the company. And in fact, now every quarter, the whole company runs through one of those principles. So these live in conversations and people wondering, how does this really work for us? Now, risk assessments. This is another example. Risk assessments are so static. It's just all about static risks and sources of energy. But if you add error traps in it, and this comes from the Society of Petroleum Engineers, are you applying human factors and human performance as per industry guidance? You can just look that up. And it's all free. This is all free, all for you. And then learning from everyday work. And these are the powerful questions that I actually saw the Blue Scope Steel supervisors saying that they were asking yesterday. Now, it is actually very difficult to train people to do this because all we get when we do this, and we've done this with many leaders who explain work as management versus work as done and incident causation, what happens is you take them out into the field and what they say is, what is the risk? I went, hang on, wait a second. Because it was so conditioned, but it's so theoretical to just ask what is the risk. We have to go deeper than that. And so building capability in leaders in asking those questions is important. So, I mean, in summary, we do have to stop a bunch of things. It's not that this is incredibly resource intensive because it's actually a lot about changing the questions we ask, but we do need to give space to the organisation. So we have to take away all those things that are harming us, including safety culture assessment, which is a waste of time. And no, just use your annual survey, your people attitude survey, and you update, as I showed, risk assessment, procedure and equipment design, and incident investigations, and then start responding supportively to bad news and learning from everyday work. And I just wanted to show what do you get from this? How do you do this? Well, if you just think of these three things, responding supportively, asking questions about context, enabling resources for action, and always following up. What we have seen in BP is that when we do this, our plant reliability goes up. It's not just about safety, it's about those small changes of optimization that help when we understand the interaction between systems and people. So that's what I'd like to leave you with, and just wanted to bring these practical examples, all of which is available for you to access. Thank you very much.
So Diane, you just legitimately came off the stage here at the Gong. How are you? How did you think it went?
Oh, well, it's just so great to be able to share all these free materials on HOP to such a big group of people who are just, wanting to move forward in their innovation safety journey. I felt very energized. I felt that people were really kind of taking on board what I was talking about, and it was just such a privilege to go on after Todd, because he was talking about, why are we doing this, and the 5 HOP principles, and then what I was doing was a case study of how BP had been doing this for the past 10 years.
So when you look at this, and I kind of want to tie in a couple of different things here, this is the first time they've done this event. 603 people inside of that room wanting to learn of this message. Now, think about when you started this journey.
Oh, yeah.
Could you envision something like this going on, especially for a first-time event?
Well, not at all. I mean, I was seen as a total anarchist, and now I'm just traditional, really, and that's a kind of a huge move, from being an anarchist to an activist to an innovator to now being, just part of the establishment. And that feels amazing, because 10 years ago, it was so lonely. So lonely because, there was Chevron doing this work. And of course, this all comes from, tried and tested from aviation in the 1940s and nuclear in the 1980s. So it's not that we're, going around experimenting with our companies. This is, very well known, very credible and validated. But when you bring it into a company that has, thought that safety really, or any company usually has gone through a phase of thinking that safety is about telling people to follow the rules and to discipline people if they don't follow the rules, and kind of wondering why, safety doesn't improve, because we're not looking at the underlying issues. No amount of punishment is going to change the ability to follow procedures if the procedures are not followable.
So when you look at this and you're able to come off the stage and you went through your message, and it's been a very short period of time because we legitimately just ran you down here. Was there anything that you wanted to share that you didn't have the chance to?
Yeah, I think I think it's really important to talk about the difficulties, and I, did talk about, you've got hundreds of leaders who have been deeply conditioned to think safety is a certain way, and therefore bringing in as much validation from outside and data is really important. But I think the thing that I didn't say was how much we as safety professionals have to hold the hands of our leaders. And this was interesting in BlueScope. The supervisors were talking about it yesterday, how much support they get from the safety department and in terms of building their skills. And I think that was the one thing that I could have talked more about how we, the 600 in this room, are the ones who are enabling the change through making it less scary, through helping our leaders practice. When they go out, they usually ask, what are the risks? But we have to move on from that. That's just really theoretical. What we are instead asking is, what's making the work difficult? What kind of issues have happened in the past? What would trip somebody up if they were doing this for the first time? And, those are difficult questions to ask, because then, of course, we learn more about the reality of work, and people are a little scared to tell us about the workarounds, and then we have to respond in a really supportive way rather than going, oh, why are you not following the rules? So, I think that was something that I think is really important for all of us safety professionals to think about, as how we support our leaders.
So in regard to supporting the leaders, and as you look back through your career, can you say that that's where the journey is going? Is that where the journey should head? Or when you look at it overall, is it something that we're learning to do?
I think it's something we're still learning to do. I think some companies do it very well. Clearly, BlueScope is doing it very well.
When you have the CEO of BlueScope standing in the stage using language that's familiar to you and to myself, it's just amazing to hear.
And it shows to everybody else how doable this is. And I think that's why people feel, oh my goodness, I'll take this back to my company and I'll be an anarchist. But instead, we now have so many case studies that we're going to be hearing about over the next few days that show that this is really making a huge difference. So yeah, I'm just really delighted to be here.
Well, Diane, I appreciate you coming by and spending some time with us and letting you know exactly what you're thinking about. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, safety transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.